How do you know this is a motor tract instead of a somatosensory tract? Yeah?
Because it's descending.
It's descending, and the reason you know that is the cell body's up here, and this comes down, and synapses. All right? So as you look at these, look at where the cell bodies are, look at where the synapses are. So here we are, cell body, comes on down, decussation. That's the point where the axon and the signal crosses from one side of the brain or one side of the body to the other. This is the pyramid of decussation. This is on the surface of the medulla. So the signal crosses over, continues down, lateral cortical spinal tract. The synapse here is going to take place in gray matter. Why? What?
Neuron body. I mean,
You have neuronal cell bodies. If you're going to have neuronal cell bodies, overwhelmingly it's going to be in gray matter versus white matter. The tracts are in the white matter because they're myelinated axons. The synapses overwhelmingly are going to be in the gray matter. Synapse go out, spinal cord. Bang. How many neurons did I take to get to a muscle? 2. One synapse, it's in the gray matter of the cord. One decussation, it's in the pyramids. Yes?
Is there always a final state?
Nope, and we'll talk about that. And so if I say, so where is the decussation? Your answer to me was, there is none on occasion. Okay? But we're going to look at that and it'll start to make sense. So, the rubrospinal tract starts at the red nucleus. Now there are all sorts of signals that go to the red nucleus. What you have to get used to in this class is that we have to have a starting point for a discussion. If we don't, then every discussion would be so complicated that it would be impossible to understand. So the signal starts here at the red nucleus, and it decusses in the ventral tegmentum. Okay, let's run through these again, blown up a little bit better. Okay? So here we go. Here's the lateral cortical spinal. Cell body in the... Oh, where would that cell body be? What part of the brain? Primary motor cortex. This area here, you see this kind of chunk right here that's whitish? That's an important fiber tract. That's the internal capsule, and it's very important for you to be able to recognize. So it comes on down, at the pyramids, it enters the pyramids, and then at the decussation, crosses over, goes down, lateral cortical spinal tract in the cord, synapses in the gray matter, signal goes to the muscle. Bang. Are we okay with that one? That's about as classically simple as it gets here. Everything else will be a little different. So, rubrospinal tract immediately decusses in the ventral tegmentum. Goes on down. Lateral column here. Synapses in the gray matter. Signal goes out. Bang. One neuron in the central nervous system, one neuron and axon leaving the central nervous system. Think about that. Getting the signal to the majority of your muscles from your brain to a muscle is 2 neurons. That's pretty cool. The anterior cortical spinal tract. We start in the cortex. Comes on down, comes on down, comes on. Oh, passes through the pyramids. What didn't happen? It didn't decuss. It gets down to the cord, the cervical cord, and the signal becomes bilateral. You'll find a lot of times signals involving balance and eyes and head and some special movements require bilateral signals. So the signal has to come out. The signal for this is simultaneously coming out the other side of the brain, and the same thing's going on. Bilateral signals are going to become important in a little while for understanding damage and loss. All right, vestibulospinal tracts. The lateral vestibulospinal. Here's the neuron. Comes down, gets down here, all right, comes on down, synapse, and go out. The medial immediately becomes bilateral in the medulla. All right? There are 2 sets of axons coming down. We get down to the cervical cord. One synapse is on this side, one synapse is on that side. Now, we're looking just at what's happening here. There's the same thing going on the other side. So, with the vestibulospinal tract, you have multiple redundancies in here. The signals are getting everywhere via 2 sets that are two of the members of the 2 sets are bilateral and 2 are unilateral. Does that all make sense? So you should be able to see that and say that. Tectospinal, reticulospinal. Okay. So, here's the tectum of the midbrain. Here's our signal. It immediately decusses to the opposite side. This is technically a decussation. Okay? So within the midbrain, it crosses over, comes on down, gets down here, synapses, and goes out. Starts at the superior colliculus, ends up where its targets are. The reticulospinal tract is technically in the reticular formation. And it's starting at 2 different spots. We have the pontine and the medullary reticular formation. The signals are coming on down, and they're both going to hit this target and go on out. So, in this case, these are 2 different tracks we're looking at. What you have to do, what you have to try, is sit down, just sketch out, even on a blank sheet of paper, how these are moving, the number of neurons and axons involved, where do the synapses occur, where are things crossing over. Some of these become, bilateral signals. In this case, we have 2 signals on the same side. They're independent, but they're involving the same thing. All of this shows you everything as more or less two neurons. That's not the way it is. The reality is, this track coming down is a whole bunch of axons bundled together, traveling together. Well, they're not really bundled together, but they're traveling together. So they're only showing you one axon. Yeah?
In the diagram that we drew for the exercise, it showed the pontine and the medullary vesiculospinals in a different area. Like right now, it looks like it's in the medial vestibulospinal, medial vestibulospinal or the medial corticospinal. Wasn't it more lateral in the figure that we drew?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's you know.
Should we just make sure I want to go by the right?
You're right.
one?
No. If you can remember, like the figure I gave you, and I'm trying to visualize it, it shows two areas in here
Right.
kind of overlapping.
Yeah.
I would never expect you to differentiate that. Those two areas, the complete area of overlap, could be either one of them. Does that make sense? Okay. Cool. All right, that's number one. That's the hardest part of the day.
Oh, can you
Oh, no, I don't want to go back. Where do you want to go to?
Anterior,
Anterior.
cortical spinal tract.
Yep.
How did it split up at the last one?
How?
I mean, yeah, why did this split up?
Why I don't know. Okay.
One is like trunk
It-
to limbs or what?
What?
Yeah, please.
No, it bifurcates. It splits into two. One goes to the right side, one goes to the left side, or vice versa.
It doesn't mean the one goes to the limbs, one goes to the trunk. No?
Nope, not necessarily. Nope.
Okay.
Don't go there. Just
It's split up.
the signal goes. It's bilateral. It's going off to both sides. If you look at these are pretty much in the same spot. It's
Yeah,
going.
but that one go to the white.
No.
matter.
They're both leaving. They're both right here. We can make the argument that these are the same nuclei sending signals to the same targets.
Okay, but when it goes down to the white matter, it doesn't mean anything.
What, this?
No, go to the ventral column.
This?
Yeah.
The signal gets out here. Getting the signal there is this and that achieve the same thing.
Okay.
It doesn't, all right. This one took the shortcut, this one took the long route. But they both end up at the targets on the opposite sides of the body.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see how there could be some confusion there, but technically the signal is a bilateral signal, so it should affect the same structures. Now, in your textbook, table 6.5 has a lot of terminology. Actually, it doesn't have a lot of terminology, it's got a bunch of terminology. You must understand it. Okay? You're going to have to be able to use these terms. Now, on your next exam, I'll be asking you questions using correct terms. Okay? I will not have you define what the terms are, but to answer a question, you have to understand what the terms mean. So, paresis, as in hemiparesis, a weakness. Plesia, as a suffix. Hemiplegia, no movement. Paralysis, no movement. Limb paralysis. Palsy, weakness or lack of movement, aphakial palsy. Nowadays, what we would see is possibly replacing palsy with paresis a lot of times. However, palsy is so well ingrained in our literature and in our nomenclature of problems that it would be impossible to eliminate.